Good evening, I'm Scott Beadle with St. George News at 8. A man is hospitalized with unknown injuries after a teen driver crashed through his home as he slept. Police say it shortly before 11:30 Wednesday night, the 16-year-old's car careened through the bedroom of a home on the 1300 block of West 360 North near Valley View Drive. The driver told police he was looking down at his radio when he lost control of the SUV. The teen was uninjured. The 32-year-old man in the home is expected to recover, police say. Officials also say a citation may be issued to the teen. An agent with the State Bureau of Investigations faces 4 criminal charges for allegedly driving under the influence last month. It happened in Garfield County on April 24th. 35-year-old Jason James Whitehead was driving on U.S. Highway 89 on his way to dive team training in Lake Powell when several people called 911 to report him for reckless driving. He's charged with DUI, 2 counts of carrying a dangerous weapon while under the influence, and having an open container. Whitehead posted his bail and was released from jail on April 27th. He's due in court for a pretrial conference on May 17th. Canaraville town officials have submitted a property lease application that could limit hikers' access to the popular Canaraville Falls Trail. Town officials say the water supply is in jeopardy. The water supply comes from Canara Creek, and the lack of any toilets on the trail is creating contamination concerns. The lease application includes up to 40 acres of land, including the falls. Officials say this is only an option, and they will try education first. They suggest hikers use disposable bags and kits, like ones required for certain hikers in Zion National Park. The lease application is expected to be completed in 2 to 3 months. The North American Pro Championship Ironman 70.3 is expected to be one of the most elite showdowns, and it's in St. George this weekend. The race draws in 2,500 amateurs and 80 world professional athletes, and an anticipated $8 million to the local economy. The St. George course of the Ironman 70.3 circuit winds its way through a 1.2-mile swim at Sand Hollow State Park, a 56-mile bike ride through Snow Canyon State Park, and ends with a 13.1-mile run into Town Square Park. A number of events will take place in and around St. George, including the Iron Kids Fun Run Friday evening at 6:30, and of course the awards ceremony at the Town Square at 4 p.m. The official race begins Saturday at 7 a.m. in Sand Hollow State Park in Hurricane. Road closures and detours can be found on the race website, ironman.com. Now to the historic vote on Capitol Hill. House Republicans passed their plan to repeal and replace Obamacare. This marks a big legislative win for President Trump and House Speaker Paul Ryan. Janae Norman is on Capitol Hill with what it means for American families.
A major win for President Trump.
And thanks to the leadership of President Donald Trump, welcome to the beginning of the end of Obamacare.
This is a repeal and a replace of Obamacare. Make no mistake about it.
House Republicans fulfilling their pledge to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act.
Are we going to be men and women of our word? Yes. Are we going to keep the promises that we made? Yes.
But is it a win for the American people? The latest ABC News Washington Post poll from last week showed just 37% of Americans say Obamacare should be repealed and replaced. 61% say it should be kept and fixed instead. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi saying Republicans are only making health care worse.
Does Trump care lower health costs? No. Does Trump care provide better health care?
The current bill that CBO previously estimated would mean 24 million Americans lose coverage over the next 10 years, phases out Obamacare subsidies in favor of tax credits to help Americans buy insurance, ends penalties over time for Americans without insurance, phases out the expansion of Medicaid, and allows states to opt out of the requirement that insurers cover basic health services like maternity care, mental health treatment, and even ambulances. But the fight isn't over. That bill, without its own score from the Congressional Budget Office, faces an uphill battle in the Senate.
You're walking the plank for what? A bill that will not be accepted by the United States Senate.
Many groups have come out against this GOP health care bill, including patient groups, health experts, and at least one big insurance company. It's likely to face some changes before any votes in the Senate. A sophisticated and convincing phishing attack spread across the web Wednesday, threatening Gmail users' personal information. Phishing is a method used to gain access to a person's credentials and hacking their other accounts like banking. The attack showed up as an email from a trusted source asking to open a Google Doc. Google is investigating and warning people not to click the link in one of those emails. The company says it has removed the fake pages and is working to prevent it from ever happening again. Google also says anyone who followed the malicious link should check their Google app permissions. Chief Meteorologist Chris Summers has your Southern Utah forecast right after this.
The weather tonight is brought to you by Experamac. Experience Mac computers in a new way.
And welcome back, everyone. A good Thursday evening to you. Some warm temperatures out there today. Actually, we'll call it hot across our area today as temperatures made it back into the low to mid 90s in much of southern Utah. 92 degrees the high in Hurricane and St. George, 97 degrees over Mesquite, 96 degrees. The high temperature in Vegas, 81 up in Cedar City, and 74 degrees the high today in Enterprise. Now for tonight, we'll see temperatures drop back into the mid 40s around Cedar City with mainly clear skies. Everyone else should stay in the low 60s to even mid 60s by tomorrow morning. But again, clear skies expected. A mild night on tap for us, and then much warmer weather back in the forecast as we head into our Friday. In Cedar City, could be looking at record high temperatures across that area. Temperatures get up into the 80s. We're going to go for a high of 83 degrees with south-southwest winds at 10 to 15, maybe 20 miles per hour throughout the day. Now for St. George and southern Utah, we could get in the mid 90s. Yeah, 94 degrees. Our anticipated forecasted high as we get into Friday afternoon with lots of sunshine. Again, southwest winds could be gusting as high as 20 miles per hour by the afternoon. So hot weather will continue as we get into your Friday. Now as the weekend approaches, though, we do cool back a couple degrees anyway, at least getting back into the 80s in most areas. Maybe even see some 70s by the time we get to Sunday. And that's when we could see some cooler weather move back in too by Sunday afternoon. And that may last into early next week too, with some rain chances coming back in the forecast by the middle part of next week. Before your Friday, high pressure controlling our weather. That just means very warm conditions here once again through much of southern Utah. That goes all the way down to parts of Arizona, Nevada, Southern California as well. Seeing these very warm temperatures. We're going for mid 90s for highs as we head into the afternoon hours of our Friday. Taking a look at some other high temperatures in across our region then. Again, under the 80s, at least mid to upper 80s from Newcastle to Cedar City. We'll go for 83 degrees of high temperature in Cedar City for your Friday. Mixing of sun and clouds, south-southwest winds. Could be gusting as high as 10 to 15 miles throughout the day. Putting some 100-degree temperatures on the map. Yeah, Mesquite and Littlefield could be getting 100 degrees for your Friday. Everyone else in the low 90s. 94 degrees St. George and Hurricane. Again, mostly sunny skies. Very hot. Southwest winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. 7-day forecast for Cedar City does show temperatures getting back in the 70s on Saturday and then back into the 60s by early next week. Could be a few showers around by the middle part of next week. Now for southern Utah and for St. George, we stay in the upper 80s on Saturday and then go back into the low 70s by the time we get to Sunday. 71 degrees a high Sunday afternoon. Still sunny and nice for your Monday before some rain does move in by middle parts of next week. Could see a few showers around Tuesday and Wednesday with highs staying in the mid 70s, eventually getting back to the low 80s on Thursday. But yeah, a hot one for your Friday. 94 degrees. Could be seeing some record high temperatures across a good portion of southern Utah on Friday afternoon. Very hot out there.
But relief on the way.
But relief on the way. Only going to last for one day, and then we're going to get back in the 80s on Saturday and back in the 70s by Sunday. So weekend looking very good across our area.
All right, thanks, Chris. Up next, might just be a colander to you and me, but for Mama Pigeon, it's a home. The story of how she got there when St. George News at 8 returns. Brooklyn woman got an unusual surprise when she came home from a trip. A pigeon made itself at home and laid 2 eggs inside a pasta strainer in her apartment. The homeowner says she left a window slightly ajar, which was just enough to let the mommy bird inside. She says she tried to hand the fledgling family off to an animal rescue organization, but no one was willing to take in a single mom, only orphans. So she decided to let the mama bird and the baby stay until they decided to fly the coop.
Well, there you go.
Thanks for watching.
Hope you have a great night.